Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Report: New England Patriots former All-Pro teases potential return as Dallas Cowboys continue offseason snub. A former New England Patriots All-Pro teased the idea of a potential return during an interview at Tom Brady's Patriots Hall of Fame ceremony. Cornerback Stephon Gilmore has had a trying offseason after posting a solid effort for the Dallas Cowboys in the 2023 season. As previously discussed on GH, Gilmore wanted to re-sign with the Cowboys, but he's been in touch with other teams this offseason. Gilmore said earlier this offseason it was his goal to return to the Cowboys. However, the Cowboys have not yet re-signed him, and he's getting interest from other teams. Jadeveon Clowney has recruited him to come home and join forces with the Panthers, as both players are from the Carolinas. The Panthers haven't reached a deal with Gilmore, but they want to. Over the cap. The 33-year-old recorded 68 tackles and 2 interceptions with the Cowboys. Pro Football Focus 74.4 grade for his play last season. Gilmore is still talented, but the Cowboys have been stingy this offseason as they continue to procrastinate with the contracts of Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, and CeeDee Lamb. There was some hope in the Cowboys fanbase that Gilmore would return when it was reported that Ezekiel Elliott would wear the number 15 jersey instead of number 21, which Gilmore wore in Dallas last year. However, Michael Gehlken, with the reported no deal with Gilmore, was close to being finalized. "You never know. I'll weigh any options," Gilmore said. "This is a place that I played great ball, so just letting it play out how it's gonna be." Gilmore said he has not been in contact with the Patriots about a potential return. He's not in a hurry to sign with a team now that OTAs are over. He wants to find the right. Cowboys news: the ways Ezekiel Elliott can help the team line up with fantasy relevance. Fantasy owners may want to keep an eye on Ezekiel Elliott for this season. Elliott averaged 20 touches per game over the final 6 contests in 2023, finding the end zone 3 times. No, he did not look like the same player he once was, in his burst or ability to break tackles, but he remained a savvy player with a nose, and the body, for the end zone. A motivated Elliott proved he could catch passes, and he has shown no decline in blocking ability, a prerequisite which should earn him ample snaps. Elliott remains a punishing player at 225 pounds. We can debate how many touches the Cowboys intend to provide him as they avoid clarity, especially as a pass catcher, but you know he is getting the short yardage plays and touchdowns. This is why it seems like a mistake to overlook Elliott in fantasy. While he is among the older starting running backs in the sport and unlikely to recapture the fullness of past glory, he doesn't need to be that same player statistically to greatly aid fantasy managers. Elliott needs snaps, and even though Rico Dowdle averaged 4.1 yards per carry backing up Pollard last season, he hardly looked fluid catching passes. Dowdle has struggled to stay healthy, and he is not as good as Pollard in the open field. The Cowboys focused on other positions in the draft and free agency. Perhaps Dowdle, Royce Freeman, Deuce Vaughn, Malik Davis, or Snoop Connor emerges as a third down option to catch passes, but do not assume this. The Cowboys are open-minded, but the team knows Elliott can handle the workload, and he can't wait to prove it. Elliott showed he can for a dreadful Patriots offense last season, and the Cowboys are far from that. It would not be a reach to expect him to approach or surpass 1,000 rushing yards and double-digit touchdowns again, just as he did during the 2021 season. He scored 12 touchdowns in 2022, and he probably would have gotten to 1,000 rushing yards if he hadn't missed a pair of midseason contests. Elliott was not the same player of his first several seasons in terms of efficiency, but volume counts for quite a bit, too. In this backfield, Elliott sure seems likely to get all the volume he can handle, and even if QB Dak Prescott attempts 600 passes, the offense is proficient enough to provide more than 250 touches, many in advantageous situations, to its lead running back. You may want to factor this into your fantasy decisions. After letting Tony Pollard sign elsewhere in free agency, and missing out on the top backs in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Cowboys re-signed Ezekiel Elliott to be their lead rusher. Elliott's glory days came with the Cowboys, but his yards per carry average has dipped below 4.0 over the past 2 seasons, resulting in a career-low 69.2 PFF rushing grade in 2023. Behind him are Rico Dowdle and Deuce Vaughn. Could Cowboys replace Dak Prescott with this 4-time Pro Bowler in 2025? For a piece published Wednesday, ESPN's Bill Barnwell suggested that the Dallas Cowboys could consider replacing starting quarterback Dak Prescott with Atlanta Falcons QB Kirk Cousins next offseason after Atlanta made signal caller Michael Penix Jr. the 8th overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft. They would have paid a whopping $62.5 million to Cousins for 1 season, but that's a sunk cost by now, Barnwell said about the Falcons potentially trading Cousins roughly 12 months after they signed him to a 4-year, $180 million contract that included $100 million guaranteed back in March. Trading Cousins would leave the Falcons with $37.5 million in dead money on their cap next year, but it would save $2.5 million in cap space and free up $37.5 million in cash spend over the ensuing 2 years. There's plenty to unpack here. Prescott is in the final year of his Cowboys contract and seemingly isn't close to signing an extension ahead of training camp while sitting on a contract that includes no trade and no tag clauses. Meanwhile, Dallas has no proven Prescott replacement on its roster. The Cowboys acquired Trey Lance from the San Francisco 49ers last summer, but Lance has yet to take the primary backup job from Cooper Rush. The Cowboys could commit to paying Cousins at least that $37.5 million for 1 year of work, with $27.5 million guaranteed in 2025 and another $10 million guaranteed for 2026, regardless of whether he is on the roster, Barnwell continued. If he sticks around, the Cowboys would pay him $72.5 million for 2 years, or an average of $36.3 million per season. That's just over half of what Prescott is projected to make per year on his new deal. As to whether Cousins may want to leave Atlanta next offseason, it's hardly a secret he didn't know when he signed his contract that the Falcons would spend a first-round draft pick on a quarterback in April. While all involved are publicly saying the right things about the Cousins-Penix partnership ahead of training camp, logic suggests the veteran signal caller who turns 36 years old in August could feel at least slightly betrayed by his current employer and may already be thinking about a future divorce. Of course, such speculation will become meaningless if Prescott inks an extension this summer. For now, the quarterback situations in Dallas and Atlanta could make for fascinating storylines from the start of training camp through at least the end of August. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Kirk Cousins? Leave your opinion in the comments.